Hello, geometry students, and welcome back to a new video lesson as we start a new chapter. Chapter 8. Today, we're going to investigate a review topic, I am hoping, where we will calculate the circumference and area of a circle. And then eventually, we're going to be able to apply that knowledge to real-life situations. We're also going to take this to how do we find parts of a circle, not just the whole entire thing. And so in order for us to find area and circumference, let's review a few things. Number one, pi. The term pi in math, and I'm going to just cover up the rest of this for a second. The term pi in math is a number, 3.141592, and so ... Remember, it goes on and on forever. We call it irrational because it does not have an ending. And we use pi a lot with circles. It's the representative of a ratio in the circle. Okay. When we work with it in geometry now, we're going to be asking you for a couple of different things. Exact answers versus rounded answers. Right? Anytime we have pi, we have the possibility of two types of answers, the exact ones or the rounded, right? And anytime we cut off this number of pi somewhere, that means it gets rounded. So for exact answers, when they want an exact answer, we leave pi, that symbol, as part of the answer or the solution. So 35 pi. This is called an exact answer. 35 pi, right? We could go to a calculator and type in 35 times 3.141, or something like that. And when we do that, we get a rounded answer, okay? But an exact answer, we leave the term pi right in there. Then the rounded answers are when they ask you to actually calculate and they tell you to round that value to something. So like, for example, if I wanted to calculate 35 pi, if we went to a calculator, and you can really do this one of two ways. You could do 35 times 3.14, and you're going to get a rounded answer. Or most calculators, and even in Desmos, they should have what is called a pi button. And so if you were to use that pi button, you're going to get like 109.95572, and on and on and on. Okay. Whereas if I just do 35 times 3.14, I get 109.9. And so it's more precise for us to use this pi button and then round where they want us to. And I'm going to show you that on Desmos in just a moment with some of our examples. But know the difference between an exact answer and a rounded answer. Now, hopefully you remember the parts of a circle. Right down here, the line that goes from edge to edge through the center is called the D, or diameter. That is my diameter. And then if it goes just from the center to the edge, that's our R, or what stands for radius. And circumference is really measuring the walk around the outside of that circle. It's very similar to when we find perimeter for our polygons. And we have two ways to find circumference. Circumference could equal pi times the diameter of the circle, or the circumference could equal 2 times pi times the radius. I would make sure that if you don't have those memorized, that you do indeed write those down somehow. So that's for circumference. And then for area, which is like finding that inside, the whole entire inside space, we only have one formula, which is area equals pi times my radius squared, pi r squared. So you're going to want to make sure you have formulas for circumference and formulas for area. Now let's take a look at an example to see how these formulas apply. An example, find the exact area of the circle to the right. The exact area. Well, if we're going to find area, first of all, the formula for area is A equals pi times radius squared, right? Area equals pi times the radius squared. I only have the diameter here. The diameter, or my d value, is 14, which means my radius is 7, half of that. So we can use that in here. Pi times 7 squared, but 7 squared is 49, and 49 times pi. When they want the exact answer, we stop right there, 49 pi. All right, that's the exact. We just leave pi right in there. Now, part B wants us to round that to the nearest tenth, to take it and round it to the nearest tenth. And I'm going to hop over to Desmos and do that for you. So let's see Desmos in their scientific calculator. You'll notice right above tan, there's a button for pi. This is the pi button, right? And it gives me this long decimal. And so I'm going to go make sure that we've got 49 times pi. So we can do 49 times, and then just hit that pi button, and notice it gives us that long value. 153.93804. 153.93804. The nearest tenth is what they're asking us to round to. This is the 10th spot, so I'm going to look right after, which means the area equals 153.9. And what are we working with? Centimeters. So centimeters squared. And I should have also put that up here as part of my label to show that that was our unit of measurement. So the exact answer, we leave pi in there. A rounded answer, they're going to tell us where exactly to round that value to. C, find the exact circumference. The exact circumference. So circumference, one of the things that I just remembered as is 2 pi r. For some reason, I remember it. Some of you may remember it as pi times diameter, which is going to give you the same thing. So 2 times pi times the radius, which is 7. 2 times pi times 7 gives me 14 pi centimeters. 14 pi centimeters, which would be the same thing if I had used that second one. Pi times the diameter, 14 pi. Now it wants us to find the circumference rounded to the nearest hundredth. Okay, all the way up to the nearest hundredth. So I've got to calculate what is 14 pi. So what is 14 times pi? To the nearest hundredth. That's 2 decimal places. So that would be this 8, which stays the same because of the 2 after it. So 43.98. 43.98 centimeters for that circumference. Now remember, as we label these, circumference, because it's related to perimeter or just walking one dimension around the outside, it's just that unit, where area is always whatever unit you're using squared, because it does cover the inside. So I hope you see the difference here between finding exact answers and finding rounded answers. Now, we'll also be asked to work backwards occasionally, right? A circle has an area of 81 pi feet squared. 81 pi feet squared. That's the area. Can we use that to find the diameter, the radius, and the circumference? Can we use that? Well, how do we get the area of a circle? It's pi times the radius squared. So 81, let me rewrite that 8. 81 pi equals pi r squared. If I were to divide both sides by pi, that's how I get rid of the pi value, you'll notice that we have 81 is equal to our r squared value. So what number squared is 81? Well, that means 9 equals the r value. 9 equals the radius. So 9, and in this case, our unit of measurement was feet. Radius is 9 feet. If the radius is 9 feet, here's a rough circle. There's my radius of 9. The diameter has to be double that, or 18 feet. And then I can use that to find the circumference. Remember, circumference is pi, 2 pi r, or pi times the diameter, which means 18 pi feet. And because they didn't tell me to round it, I'm going to just leave it as the exact answer. The only time I will round is when they tell me to do that in the directions. So very short, quick video on area and circumference. We need to know this before we can go on and start to look at just pieces of this circle. If you have any questions, please make sure that you reach out. Otherwise, until next time, everyone, stay safe